Welcome back to the podcast, Affirmations of an It Girl. It's your favorite It Girl, Brooke Sabre. V, what we got today? What we talking about?
So today we got habits versus choices. So my first question to you is, what are habits?
What are habits? It's something that you continuously do that you're not conscious of. It's something that you are doing on an everyday basis, or often, I would say, and you're very conscious of it. And by the way, to viewers that are watching, I'm sitting up straight, very studious, because you see how I'm sitting. You know what I mean? Your girl's been sipping, okay? Everything's sitting. My hairstylist told me I can't move. The outfit's tight. So it is what it is. Back to you, B. But that's what
I mean, the habits is why your body looks so
habits are, this is the example of habit.
I was about to say, give me some examples of your habits.
Ooh. I have great habits. I have great habits of holding myself accountable. I would say I'm pretty great recently at holding myself accountable. Great habits of not allowing myself to fall off. And what I mean by fall off, I mean like mentally, physically, spiritually. I don't take too much time off from pouring into me. You know what I mean? Sometimes I pour into certain parts of me too much, and I may neglect another part of me, but I have a habit of becoming, like, just evolving and being better. I do have a habit of that. I have bad habits of trying to fix people. You know what I mean? Like, I have my own issues, and I think I'm trying to fix somebody else's issue, or I'll believe that they'll change because of me. I have a bad habit of that, I would say. It's trying to turn things around or thinking I can fix people, thinking I'm the end all be all to certain situations. When sometimes people are just who they are. No matter who you are, what your value is, it doesn't matter. That's one of my bad habits, I would say.
I'm gonna be real with you. You're being a little vague. I need you to be a little more specific. Let's go with the good habits first. But I need you to give me specific good habits, because that was very vague.
Okay, so let me tee up on it.
Please do.
Waking up at 5 a.m. That's a habit. That's a good habit. Waking up at 5 a.m, going to the gym, teeing up, working on that ass, sitting up when your legs are burning. That's a habit. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Are you following me? Abs. It's burning. You're still going. That's a habit. Increasing the cash flow, finding out other ways to make money. That's a habit.
And give me that habit. What does that look like?
Oh, I'm a hustler. Yeah, I can sell water to a fish. I always been that way. So that habit is just never settling. It doesn't matter what it is. In this phase of my life, it's building my business, It Girl, the curriculum, the workouts, the products. And I never wanted to be too product focused, but the brand itself is me. And so that's something that I realized. So a habit is just constantly getting up and trying again for me in this particular season.
And when you say you don't let yourself fall off, and that's a habit, what specifically do you mean by that?
I can never see myself in the back. And what I mean by that is I know I was destined for more. Like, I'm just destined for greatness. Whether people believe it or not, or if they see it or not, I don't know if it comes off cocky. Some people, it does alert their demons and it's a problem for them. But for me, it's just like, I just want to be better. It doesn't matter what that is. I want my skin to be better, so I need a better skin regimen. I want my hair to be longer, so I need to take my vitamins. My body to be fit and my skin to be glowing all over. That's a habit, getting up at 5 a.m, going to the gym. I want my nails to grow longer. Stop biting your nails, getting manicuring my nails and pedicuring my feet. That's a habit. Like, that's what I mean by not falling off. I need a closer relationship with God. I got the 52 weeks Bible workbook. Like, it's the initiation. It's the acknowledgement. Acknowledging that you want to be better in certain areas of your life. And then 2, it's the doing part. So spiritually, I want a better relationship with God. You can't sit there and say you want a better relationship with God and then you put no work behind that. So for me, I just don't want to fall off in any aspect. And it's hard juggling all 50 of them. How you look, how you talk, how you think, how you treat people, your relationships. It's a task, but I pay the price for that. That's a habit. That's a good habit. I believe that that I show.
So how do habits and choices intertwine with one another?
I believe they're two different things.
Mhm.
Let me say this for the people. Habits and choices are two different things. I'll repeat it again. Habits and choices are two different things. And then you want to know why? Two different things. So I'm going to give a vague example, but it's going to make sense. Let's say I smoke cigarettes, right? 365 days for a whole full year, I smoke cigarettes, right? On day 366, I say, oh my God, for a full year.
Girl, you're on a new year now. You mean day one?
Day one. Day one. Day one.
Talking about day one first.
Day one. Okay, day one. Let's say 364.
Right. Yeah, here we go. I ain't want them to eat you up.
Good. I don't give whatever the hell they gonna say it. 366, first day, whatever. The next day.
Yeah.
Let me say 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
3 years, I've been smoking cigarettes, right? 3 years, or 3 years in one day. I say, oh my God, I've been smoking cigarettes and it's been causing this. My hygiene's poor. I've been using it to fill a void. I'm not spending a lot of time with my kids, and I've seemed to be more depressed and anxious, right? After 3 years and one day, you decide that. On 3 years and 2 days, what is that now if you pick a cigarette up?
That's a habit.
No, that's a choice. Because a habit, your habit is you don't know that you're doing it. A habit is in your subconscious. You don't know that you're doing it. When you know that you're doing it, you bring it then to your conscious mind. You have now paired your habit, which is smoking cigarettes, with all the negatives that it brings to your life, right? Smoking it, your hygiene, your mental health, your physical health, right? You paired that with that and said, I've been chain smoking cigarettes for 3 years, one day, whatever the hell I said. Y'all know what the hell I'm trying to say. 3 years, one day. On the second day, I realized, on 3 years and 2 days, I realized that I'm doing it. On the third day, if I roll over on my bed and pick up a cigarette, what is that? You said a habit. No, that's a choice. Mm-hmm. You have now brought that subconscious activity of a habit or a tendency to your conscious mind. You're now conscious of the effects that smoking a cigarette does to you. You're conscious of that now, right? Correct? Make some noise. Yep. Okay, thank you. You're now conscious of that. So now it's a choice. So I think what people do with habits and choices, we lie to ourselves and we say that it's just a habit to soften the blow to get away from the truth of the reality. So it's good to say something is a habit or that something is a tendency because it sounds better. I just have a tendency of not communicating. I just have a habit of not considering you. No, babe, once you know that not considering me or not communicating with me is a problem, and you now bring that from your subconscious mind to your conscious mind, you are making a choice to continuously do that. Whatever that thing is, you're making a choice. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And I learned this, and I forgot who I watched this from, and he talked about it. And the lady was like, I just have a tendency. No, babe, you don't have a tendency. There's no such thing as a tendency once you know that you have it. Habits and tendencies, you don't know you have them. You're going along with the day. The leaves is flowing by, the wind is blowing, it's just what it is. You don't know that you're doing it until you realize the positive effects it has or the negative effects that it has on you. Once you realize those things, the next day that you choose to do whatever that thing is, it's a choice. And in our lives, we have the power of our entire lives and all the decisions we make because they're all choices. But we'll rather say it's a habit or it's a tendency to lessen the blow or feel better about ourselves. That's how I feel about habits and choices.
So earlier, right, you talked about your habits, getting up 5 a.m., going to the gym. That at one point was a choice that you turned into a habit.
Right.
So for someone who's struggling with trying to build these new habits, how far along or at what point is a choice turned into a habit?
Once you realize the effects of it, I feel like once you realize it, because a lot of people don't realize what they're doing and the effects that it has on them. The choices we make choices, but we don't realize what they're doing to us in that time that we're making the choice. You know, when you're younger, you have certain friends and you're making bad choices with your friend. Your mom's like, I don't like that. And you're like, well, it's just my friends, mom. I'm just hanging out. She sees this is going to turn into a habit, which is going to cause chaos. You don't see it at that time. But as long as we push things under the rug and act as if they're not happening, that's when things turn into habits. But they're known habits. That's why I said the subconscious and conscious. Sometimes habits can be in your subconscious, sometimes they're in your conscious. But once they're in your conscious mind, you're now making a choice. It's not that you're just doing it for whatever reason. Usually when we do things, we do them for no reason. With certain things, you know what I mean? Because you flip the dynamic of what I was saying, but in certain instances, it is. For me, going to the gym, that was a choice because I wanted better health and I wanted to look good. So I made that then a habit. When I gave you the example of smoking cigarettes, that was a habit. That was a choice that she chose to do, but turned into a habit that then turned back into a choice because now you're choosing to continue this habit that you know is affecting you. And that's why I said when it lives in your subconscious, you don't know really the effects of it. You don't know what it's really doing to you. You're just making a simple choice that you think is good for you. Until once you bring it to your conscious and you relate it to, well, it's not so good. Now, you're not, if you don't make a change to change that, that's a choice. You're making a decision that that's what you want to do. And I think a lot of people get away with saying that they have habits or tendencies not to evolve and grow in certain areas of their life. It's kind of like a slap on the wrist. Like, oh, I just have a habit of this. So we give them a pass, right? We give people a pass. Oh, I just have a habit of not communicating. And I'm so sorry, I'm working on that. You've said that 10 times since I've known you. So when are you going to make this habit that you're choosing to do, that's now in your conscious mind, when are you going to change it? Because you know that you're doing it. It's not that you don't know that you're doing it anymore. And I think whether it's mentally, emotionally, physically, we make excuses for ourselves to deal with our reality.
And that leads into my next question of how does someone go from bad habits to choosing good habits?
Acknowledging, being truthful with yourself. The whole part of it is looking at yourself, being truthful with yourself. Let's say it all together. Being truthful with yourself. Looking in the mirror, because a lot of people don't want to do that. They don't want to look in the mirror and say, I'm not good at this. I suck at that. I need work on this. Because it's a raw reflection. It's raw honesty. Like you have to be honest with yourself. Because now you got to take some accountability. Who wants to take accountability nowadays? Right? So now with that self-work, you got to look at yourself and you got to say, this is what I need to fix, and then make a valid effort. And it's not a once in a while change. It's an all the time change. You know what I mean? It's a lifestyle change. It's a lifetime commitment to be better, because a lot of people are unprogramming what they've learned from whether how they were raised or their experiences. Some are not to blame due to it being out of their control, right? But in other instances, once you realize that you do have a problem, acknowledge it and then work on it. Don't say, oh, I just have a bad habit of doing this. Work on it and make a valid effort to work on it. That's not to say that you won't mess up, because you will. I've messed up plenty of times, and we'll get into that in another episode.
All right. Next question. I want you to be very raw and vulnerable.
Why you always do that with the raw and the vulnerable?
I know. It's so difficult. Let's go through your lessons learned. What lessons have you learned in your journey of your habits versus your choices, of changing bad habits into good choices? Like, what were the lessons you learned from that?
To look at me first in every situation, or in any situation where I felt neglect or a problem or hurt or numb, to look at me first and to see, why is that? How did we get to this point? And before I didn't, I was like quick to point a finger at somebody, because there was no way I did something wrong. You know what I mean? And I think the first step is acknowledging. And I keep saying it because it's so hard for people to do, because you don't look within yourself first in these situations. You always look outward. It's easier to look outward, right? It's easier for me to tell Venice what she did wrong than to look at myself and say what I did wrong. And I never really understood that, like, throughout my life. And I keep learning the same things, or God keeps introducing me to the same mistakes, and I keep making them. And I'm like, okay, you made this mistake already. Okay, you made it the second time. You made it a third time. You made it a fourth time. Okay, they're not the problem. Like, what's going on? Look at yourself, because you keep making the same mistake. Like, you can't control what outsiders do or what other people do. You're not in control of that. Everything you're in control of, look at that and see what's wrong with that. And that's where I was like, okay, all right, so yeah, you got problems. You got to look at yourself before you're able to point the finger at anybody else. So the lesson is self-reflection for me. And to any young girl, and I'm going to look at the camera when I say this, look at yourself first and foremost before pointing a finger at anybody else. Because the way that you care about yourself, the way that you are going to pour into you is going to be better than the way that you pour into anybody else ever. And evolving is something that has to happen in order to become the best version of yourself. And in order to do that, you got to be able to hold yourself accountable when things are not going your way or when things fall apart. And it's easy to point the finger at the other party. So be accountable, be aware, and always reflect within self first before you point the finger at anybody else. Thank you for watching another episode of Affirmations of a It Girl. Like, subscribe, share on whatever platform that you're watching, and we'll see you soon.